Hi guys, LevelUp here at OnPointTactical. This is going to be my second Assault First Impressions video. We're going to go over all four of the maps. We're going to start with the obvious Operation Metro here. We're playing with the M60E4 machine gun. I unlocked it the round before this, or a couple rounds before, on Gulf of Oman. Of course, you have to finish that assignment on Oman. And I gotta say, it is one of the better light machine guns. But what has changed from the old Metro? Well, there's been one way to flank Bravo added from the US deployment side of the map, and that is on the right-hand side from the Russian deployment side. By the front office, there is another little corridor that takes you down to the actual Metro, and it has been helpful a couple of times, but with the angle that it's at, it is LVG heaven to shoot straight down those stairs and get just a whole mess of kills or kill assists. It's a great corridor to shoot down with LVG if you're trying to unlock the F2000 assault rifle. Unlocking the holographic sight there. We're getting pretty well pinned down on Bravo, but that is to be expected. We can't really move. We're pinning them down on their back cap. We're trying to keep them on Charlie and off of Bravo, as always. And in Battlefield 3, it was kind of hard to defend from this side because you have so many different ways in to worry about. And from the other direction, if you could get to Bravo first, it was much easier to lock it down. Well, the spawn for the Russians is so much closer to the Bravo objective now that it's almost impossible from the US side to get an advantage an advantage on the Russian team. So you pretty much have to rely on the enemy team sucking if you're on the US side of the map, and you're pretty much just going to lose by default from that end of the map because there really isn't a whole lot you could do, especially whenever you're playing Conquest 64 and half of the team stops at Alpha, half of the team runs straight to Bravo to get the advantage, or vice versa for Charlie and Bravo. You're going to get the Russian team there much faster. They have, in fact, about a 50-meter advantage on the US deployment, so it is somewhat unfair. It's very imbalanced, and if DICE knows anything, then they're going to move the Russian deployment back farther from where it is to make it to where both teams get to the objective at roughly the same time. Other than that, there really hasn't been that much changed. That disadvantage from the US side has always been there, but like I said, it was much easier to push through from the US side before. I don't know what it is, if it's just how Battlefield 4 works, if it's just the mechanics, or if it's just the player base being overall less aggressive, or it could just be the difference between Conquest Large and Conquest 24. You gotta remember, I played it on PS3, so all we had was Conquest 24, and from the US side it was rather easy to push through and then back cap the Russian team. You do still have the problem of the snipers trying to take the locker room all the way back to the back cap and placing a spawn beacon. You definitely can't underestimate their power on this map, because now with the addition of carbines being available to all classes and DMRs being available to all classes, the recon class can be very, very aggressive on Operation Metro with weapons like the MTAR or the ACWR, and they are going to wreck your team if they get a spawn beacon on the back cap. No questions asked. Let's go over this M60 for a second. Its rate of fire is only 570, which puts its damage per second just below the PKP Pechneg and the 240 Bravo. We're going to go over this in the M60 review, but I wanted to go ahead and note that because my internet is miserably failing. We have normally 30 megabyte internet, and right now I'm getting all of 2 download and 34 kilobytes for the upload speed right now, which means that this video should be uploading, I don't know, by mid-afternoon. It's right now midnight, so I would imagine it'll be up by mid-afternoon, which is not normally the timeline that I would put on these sorts of things, but this is Google that we're talking about. So, overall, if you liked the original Metro, you should enjoy this version of Metro. We're trying to get Bravo locked down from the US side of the map here, and it didn't really go very well. We made it up to the turnstiles in the front office, but because of the new way in from the left side of the map on the US, from the US side, it's on the left side of the ticket room. There is another door for the Russians to get in also, so holding down Bravo is really just a death sentence, but yet that's the only way to win the game. So if you really enjoyed that clustered gameplay from before, you should have absolutely no problems picking up Second Assault and playing the new Operation Metro, as pretty much nothing has changed over the course of the two games. Now we're looking at Gulf of Oman. This is in the attack chopper, which gives you a great view of the map's layout. For the most part, it does play out the same, even with the sandstorm in place, because it just turns into a big spot spam match is all it is. It's just shoot at the Doritos. That's all the game is once the sandstorm wheels in. This is no exception if we're talking about obliteration, or rush, or conquest, or domination. They are all the same thing. You're sitting there spot spamming through the sandstorm because you can spot players across the map through the sandstorm. And I was thinking about a way to balance this out so we're not just shooting and spot spamming. Past about 30 meters or so, you can't really see through the sandstorm, so I think that at that distance it should probably be enabled to where you cannot spot a player that far away once the sandstorm is rolled in. That could be, or the dust storm, whatever you want to call it, that could be a very, very, very cool option for balancing out the map. We're taking out this attack boat, and I forgot about the power of the attack boats and the ribs versus helicopters. It has added a whole new dynamic to anti-air gameplay, but that also makes you wonder how much DICE has been paying attention to our complaints, because the attack chopper is still retardedly easy to shoot down, and you'll see how me and Naganucker die at the end of this clip was actually due to a rocket throwing the helicopter sideways, which was supposed to be one of the fixes implemented with the big nearly 1 gigabyte patch sometime in January. I can't remember the exact date of it. So it's sort of hard to see the objectives, but they're in the same layout from before. It's not quite as easy to backcap the Russians as it used to be, and I think that the primary reason for that is I think that the flag capture time is actually a bit longer in this game, and it's just a lot easier to maintain a line because of that. Like I said, that rib starts chewing us up, and we start sending volleys of fire towards the little shrimping boat, which might seem like a waste, but you gotta do everything that you can. Wait, is that the rib or the attack boat? It's kind of hard to tell in my preview. Oh, there's a rib and the attack boat, maybe? Or is that just the fast attack craft? No, that's just the attack boat. Okay, my mistake, it wasn't the rib. But we did get shot at by a rib at one point. The usefulness of transport helicopters on this map is insane, just like it was before. If you'll remember, from the US side of the map, if you got backcapped, that transport chopper was your last hope, because the ribs would get lit up by the tanks almost immediately. And it's sort of that same idea now, that with the tanks and the LAVs being so much better in this game, it is really easy to get locked on to the carrier. But if it wasn't for that fast attack craft and the transport helicopter, you would probably get stuck on that carrier every single match at some point. You might break free, but you would probably get stuck. Well, the transport helicopter on this map, like I said, its importance can never be understated, because you can now take that flank route way out to the side in the middle of this dust storm, and the enemy team may not even see the helicopter. It is really, really nice. You can get right back to the enemy team's back caps. They're all the way at the beach, and then you have quite the engagement advantage on them, and that is really something. Trying to shoot down this attack helicopter, they are no less annoying in dogfights because of that sandstorm. It's really easy to lose sight line of your target, so flying around with the lock-on missiles on is pretty much the only way to nail down the location of your opponents as far as helicopters and jets are concerned, because you cannot laze, or you can't see anything, but you can still laze them through the sandstorm, of course, because, you know, the sandstorm doesn't stop the heat seekers from working, as this is Battlefield 4, and it's all about the lock-ons. So you've got a pretty good overhead view of how it goes. The tanks take pretty much the same navigation routes as they used to, straight through the main objectives. That gas station off to the side is still a great place for recon players to throw down the recon beacons, and I see it happen all the time. The cranes are no less campy than they used to be, which is to be expected. But one thing that was different for me is that Delta objective is really, really hard to take. I don't know if it's just because of the different mechanics in Battlefield 4 versus Battlefield 3, or if it's just, again, player count difference, but we were having a really hard time taking that out, and I think that part of the reason is because there's so many more tanks on Conquest Large versus Conquest Small that us console players just aren't used to that. on several occasions on that flag, I saw an LAV and a main battle tank just sitting there defending the flag. It was borderline impossible to get through unless we had a tank and a LAV and a helicopter to make sure that we had the advantage. Otherwise, we would probably lose out because they have the high ground and the defensive advantage. And again, something not to be understated. We get shot at by that jet, which is another thing not missing from Oman from Battlefield 3. And, you know, there's nothing you can really do at that point. So to recap so far, Operation Metro is the same clustered gameplay as it was before. Gulf of Oman is a little bit different because of the dust storm, but it does get very old, very repetitive, and very, very boring very fast. I can't tell you enough that, like, it was awesome seeing that sandstorm roll in for the first time, but after it set in and you played in it for a couple matches and you realized that it's just a big game of spot spam and use lock-on rockets, it honestly wasn't that fun. I think that if the dust particles somehow messed with the lock-on capability of stingers, helicopters, and main battle tanks, that could be a really cool gameplay aspect. And then also, like I said, make the spot distance much, much, much shorter and actually contain it this time, so that we make sure that at extreme long range, straight through this dust storm, you're not just going to be spot spamming and shooting at Doritos that you have no possible chance of hitting, because you can spot guys ridiculously far away in this game, as many of you know, and I think that sandstorm should be in the way of that. But this is Battlefield. It's just like the smoke launcher thing. We got that fixed, and hopefully we will see this dust storm get changed in that respect. I'll have to post it on the battle log, or the Battlefield Facebook page, and I'll tweet Alan Kurtz and get his opinions on that. And I will post on our Twitter page what he says. I'll retweet it if I get a reply from Alan Kurtz, because he's the lead gameplay designer. Look how friggin' beautiful Caspian Border is with these new fall colors. It just makes you feel kind of warm inside for about 24 seconds, and then it's Battlefield all over again on this map. The wall changed the flow of some stuff, but you're pretty much doing the same thing. The attack chopper makes really low passes through some of the hills and through the trees, shooting up the main battle tanks. You got the attack jets and the stealth jets making annoying strafing runs on Alpha, because that's pretty much the only flag that's open enough for the jets to make an effective strafe, except for Delta objective. Occasionally they will get a good strafing run in on that, but for the most part you're just going to get carpet bombed on Alpha objective by those jets, so be aware of that. One thing that I didn't think of whenever I was originally anticipating the changes that the wall would make is that it is perfect for campers. There are all these stupid little watchtower areas, and campers crawl up on top of them, and they sit on the ladder because they know that someone's going to see them. If they go prone, you can't shoot them from below the wall, and if you try and climb up that ladder, they can blow you up with a claymore, or they can just sit there and shoot your face off and then make you take a permanent dirt nap. It is amazingly annoying. I'm not sure what DICE was thinking, making it to where you can't get you cannot get a sightline on them to take them off of that. You can't throw minis up there, you can't throw RGOs up there, and you can't get M67s up there. It's a borderline impossible to get up there unless the roofs are still on those things. The roofs don't stay on those watchtowers for very long because engineers see guys camping in them, they shoot RPGs at it, boom, the ceiling is gone, and then all of a sudden they're just going to go prone, and you can't even bounce a grenade off of the opposite wall to get a nade kill. Those spots really annoy me, and the stupid Gaul sniper magnum assignment, like, what the heck, guys? I don't want to camp on the Caspian Border and Firestorm towers for an entire game. That's not fun. Oh, it seems retarded. That was a dumb idea. It was a very, very, very dumb idea. So now that my sort of anti-DICE rant has come to an end as far as Caspian Border, if you remember the old radio tower, it's still fallen in the middle of the map. The new radio tower, you can trigger it via a laptop in the basement, and then it blows up and falls over, which looks kind of cool. And it's fun to trigger it about twice. You get an assignment if you crawl through, or swim through rather, all of the poop water in the basement if you can find it. And after that, there's really no point even messing with that darn tower, assuming that you have the Gaul Sniper Magnum Or if you don't care about the gall, then you never have to sit on that tower, and I can tell you that you are a lucky human being, because the line of sight from that stupid thing is good, but trying to hit someone at these awkward angles that it gives you because it's up on the hill and then elevated past that, it's really painful trying to get headshots at long range. And not to mention how many areas there are where you can fall right off the side of a tower. There's just big round holes in the catwalk, so that whenever you're scoped in and you're trying to strafe to see around the handrails, it is very, very, very simple to accidentally strafe over this hole, fall straight through, and then once you pull your chute, that's it. It's almost impossible to land on a catwalk below that. So the additions made to Caspian Border, while it was kind of neat to see it in action, I don't think that they were for the best, and overall I think Caspian Border is still going to be a very popular conquest map, but I don't think that it's quite the animal that it used to be. More like it's not as good as it used to be, at least in my opinion. Operation Firestorm, the final map in our recap. I do have very, very limited gameplay on Firestorm because my capture card system actually crashed last night while my internet was running, and so I only managed to get one game of Conquest, and I joined in a little bit late. I was working on getting the Gall Sniper Magnum assignment, and then realized that their team was camping up on the radio tower, so I decided just to work the compound below it and try and pick off some headshots. I have really too much magnification for that distance of engagement right there. I maybe should have put on cannoned iron sights, but I don't even, I might not actually have those unlocked for the SRR-61 now that I think about it. So I get a hit marker on this guy up here, and that was a very disappointing hit marker. I would have loved to shoot the guy through the floor and get a headshot. That would have been something to see. Firestorm is the best map of the new ones as far as I'm concerned. It's virtually unchanged from what it was before, so it's very hard to get them back capped and spawn rage them. You got all these new fires that you can set. You got the different pipeline stuff you can blow up, and then you can take down the camper crane on the side of the map. Just new destruction, and the map looks really cool with the new Frostbite engine. You got sort of the dried out grass going on, and then you got all these random fires going on amongst the map, and it does look really cool. So overall, what do I think about Second Assault? I think that if you enjoyed these maps before, you're probably going to enjoy them again. I know that this sounded overly negative, but I wanted to nail down the cons of these maps because you guys can decide the pros for yourselves. This is just my point of view. This is not something that all people are going to agree on. This is just what I think about the map, so take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. You might feel entirely different about these maps than I do, and it's highly likely that you will feel different, but that is just my feeling on it. So I think it is a good map pack. It's worth playing. It's worth getting the weapons to unlock. The M60 is very good, and the F2000 is definitely worth using. So as always, thanks for watching. I'm LevelUp here at OnPointTactical. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the battlefield.